बहुत लंबा. Namaskar. Welcome everyone to NIOS video series. Today we are going to do subject English, lesson number 12. The name of the lesson is If I Were You. First, we will do the difficult words. The first word is cottage interior. Different cottage interiors are there in a cottage. Second word is curtained. Third word is furniture. Table, sofa, cupboards, bed, all these are furnitures. Fourth word is horn rimmed. It is a shape of the specs. Fifth word is packing. Sixth word is revolver. Not a toy, but a real revolver, a gun. Seventh word is bumps. Seventh word is bumps. When you bump in a wall or a table. Eighth word is melodramatic. Ninth word is nonchalant. It means relaxed. 10th word is sympathetic. Having sympathy towards somebody. 11th word is gypsies. A group of people. 12th word is unfamiliar. Something that you don't know and you're familiar with. 13th word is garage, where you keep your car and other tools. 14th word is greengrocer. It could be fruits, vegetables, all of it. 15th word is specialist. Sixteenth word is murder, killing somebody. 17th word is hunted. Hunting and killing a person or an animal. So, dear learners, as you see in the slide, Gerard is a young man, and this is Gerard's sign. He's doing packing, and suddenly a man enters who resembles him. And he is holding a revolver in his hand. So let us find out what he wants from Gerard. As you see in the slide, the scene is a small cottage interior there is an entrance right at the back side, right side, which may be curtained. Maybe an emergency entrance. Another door to the left must be a practical door. The furniture is simple, consisting of a small table towards the left, a chair or two, and a divan rather upstage on the right. On the table, there's a telephone. When the curtain rises, Gerard is standing by the table, phoning. He's a medium height, as you see in the slide. He's a medium height guy and wears a horn-rimmed glasses. He is dressed in a lounge suit and a great coat. His voice is very cultured. Then let's see what happens further. Gerard, he puts down the phone and goes to the divan on the right, where there is a travelling bag, and starts packing. Whilst he thus is engaged, another man, similar in build to Gerard, enters the right door. Whereas Gerard is packing, he is a flashily dressed in an overcoat and a soft hat. He bumps accidentally against the table, and at the sound, Gerard turns quickly. So I'm going to narrate the scene to you. Gerard is a good person, but intruder, as you see in green, is the bad person because he entered the house in the intentions of doing a crime. So let's begin. Chirag says, pleasantly. Why this is a surprise, Mr. Because he doesn't know the name. So intruder says, I am glad you are pleased to see me. I don't think you'll be pleased for long. So he says, put those paws up. Chirag says, this is all very melodramatic, not very original. Perhaps, but... And in between, intruder interrupts and says, trying to be calm and Chirag says, nonchalant is your word, I think. Intruder says, thanks a lot. You'll soon stop being smart. I will make you crawl. I want to know few things. See. Chirag says, anything you like. I know all the answers. But before we begin, I should like to change my position. You may be comfortable, but I am not. Intruder says, sit down there and no funny business. Motions to the chair and sits himself on the divan by the back. Now then, we'll have a nice little talk about yourself. Chirag says, at last a sympathetic audience. I'm going to tell you my life story. How, as a child, I was stolen by the gypsies. And why, at the age of 32, I find myself in my lonely XX cottage. How? Intruder interrupts and says, keep it to yourself. And just answer my questions. You live here alone? Well, do you? So Chirag says, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were telling me and not asking me. A question of inflection with your voice unfamiliar. Intruder says, do you live here alone? Chirag says, and if I don't answer? Intruder says, You have got enough sense that you don't want to get hurt. Chirag says, I think good sense is shown more in the ability to avoid pain than in mere desire to do so. What do you think? Mr. Intruder says, never mind my name. I like yours better. Mr. Gerard, what is your Christian name? Gerard says, Vincent Charles. In the next scene, we will understand that what brings the intruder to Gerard's house: chance, fate, or a planned move. Let's find out. Intruder says, do you run a car? Chirag says no. Intruder says, that's a lie. You are not dealing with a fool. I am as smart as you and smarter than you. I know you run a car. Better be careful, wise guy. Listen, this gun is no toy. I can hurt you without killing you and get my answers. Gerard says, of course. If you put it like that, I'll be glad to assist you. I do possess a car and it is in the garage round the corner. Intruder says, that's better. Do people often come out here? Gerard says, very rarely. Surprisingly, few people take the trouble to visit. That's that baker and the greengrocer, of course, and then there's a milkman. Intruder says, I happen to know that you never see trade people. Gerard says, you seem to have taken considerable amount of trouble. Once you know won't you say something about yourself? You have been so modest. Intruder says, I could tell you plenty. You think you're smart? but I'm smarter than you. I've got brains and I use them. That's how I have got where I have. Gerard says, and where precisely have you got? It didn't require a great brain to break into my little cottage. The intruder says, when you know why I have broken into your little cottage, you'll be surprised, and it won't be a pleasant surprise. Gerard says, why are you figuring out so largely? Understandable, but what is your particular line of crime? What what are you specialist in? Or aren't you a specialist? Intruder says, my specialist is jewels robbery. Your car will do me a treat. It's certainly a dandy car. Gerard says, I am afraid jewels are few and far in between this part of England. Intruder says, so are the cops. I can retire here nicely for a little while. Gerard says, you mean to live with me? A little sudden, isn't it? You have not been invited. Intruder says, you won't be here for so long, so I didn't trouble to ask. Gerard says, what do you mean? Intruder says, this is your big surprise. I'm going to kill you. Gerard says, a little harsh, isn't it? Intruder says, with a very heavy sarcasm, yeah, I'll be sorry to do that. I've taken a fancy to you, but it's just got to be done. Gerard says, why add a murder to your other crimes? It's a grave step you are taking. Intruder says, I'm not taking it for fun. I have been hunted I am wanted for murder already, and they can't hang me twice. Here we take a short break.
कोविड-19 यानी कोरोना वायरस देश एवं संपूर्ण विश्व में व्याप्त विषाणुजन्य समस्या। लाखों लोग इस संक्रमण की चपेट में। इसका निदान है जागरूकता के साथ हम और आप स्वयं। कोरोना वायरस के इस संक्रमण से संपूर्ण भारतवर्ष भी एक विकट स्वास्थ्य की परिस्थितियों से जूझ रहा है। भारत सरकार द्वारा गांवों से शहरों तक व्यापक जांच, उपचार और विभिन्न नैदानिक व्यवस्थाएं की गई हैं, लेकिन अभी हमें करना है इससे बचाव। बचाव है आपस में 2 गज की दूरी रखें, मास्क जरूर लगाएं, हाथों को बार बार साबुन से धोएं और हाँ, आरोग्य सेतु ऐप पर लॉगिन अवश्य करें। घर पर रहें और NIOS की स्व अध्ययन सामग्री से पढ़ते रहें। आपके लिए PM ई-विद्या पर टीवी, रेडियो वाहिनी और मुक्त विद्यावाणी पर ऑडियो कार्यक्रमों का प्रसारण भी NIOS द्वारा किया जा रहा है। आपसे एक ही अनुरोध है, जब भी छींकें, मुंह और नाक को ढकना ना भूलें। भीड़ भाड़ में जाने से बचें और सामाजिक दूरी का पालन करें। और एक बात, जब तक वैक्सीन नहीं आती तब तक मास्क को ही वैक्सीन समझें। साफ रहें, स्वच्छ रहें और स्वस्थ रहें। 2 गज दूरी, मास्क है जरूरी। किसी भी आपदा की स्थिति में संपर्क करें टोल फ्री नंबर 1075 011 23978046। ईमेल करें ncov2019@gov.in।
प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो, धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बहुत, कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, हम अपना जीवन स्वयं बने, हम अपना
Welcome back. The intruder threatens to kill Gerard. Is Gerard afraid? Is he nervous? Does the intruder carry out his threat? Let's find out. Gerard says, "You're planning a double murder, so to speak, admitting you have nothing to lose, but what have you to gain?" Intruder says, "I have got freedom to gain. As myself, I'm a poor, hunted rat. As Vincent Charles Gerard, I am free to go to places, do nothing. I can eat well and sleep without having to be ready to hide at the sight of a cop." Gerard says, "In most melodramas, the villain is foolish enough to delay his killing long enough to be frustrated. You are much luckier." Intruder says, "I am okay. I have got a reason for everything. I'm going to be Vincent Charles Gerard. See, I've got to know what he talks like. How I know? Your accent comes easy. This is Mr. V.C. Gerard speaking. And that's not all." He gets up and says, "Get up a minute. Now take a look at me." Gerard says, You're not particularly attractive." Intruder says, "No, well, that goes for you too. I only have got to wear specs and I look enough to get away with it." Gerard says, "What about your clothes?" "They'll let you down if you're not careful." Intruder says, they'll be all right, yours will fit me. Gerard says, this is extremely interesting, but you seem to miss the point of my remark. I said you were luckier. It was not the reason you were of your intelligence. You won't kill me for a good reason. Intruder says, so that's what you think. Gerard says, you let me go, and thank God you didn't shoot sooner. Intruder says, come on, what's on your mind? Better be quick, this conversation bores me. Gerard says, your idea is to elude that police by killing me and taking my identity. When you kill somebody, you can always take their identity, and it is a crime. Gerard says, but are you sure it's going to help you? Intruder says, now listen here. I have got all this planned. I did a job in town. Things went wrong and I killed a cop. Since then, I have done nothing but to dodge. Gerard says, and this is why dodging has brought you. This is where it has brought you. Intruder says, it has brought me to Aylesbury. That's where I saw you in a car. Two other people saw you and started to talk. And I listened. It looks like you're a bit queer kind of mystery man. Gerard says, a mystery which I propose to be explained. Gerard was a mystery man. Why did he act as a mysterious way? Was he also a crook like Intruder? Let's find out what happens to Gerard and the Intruder. The Intruder, preparing to shoot, says, as I said before, this conversation bores me. Chirag says, don't be a fool. If you shoot, you'll hang for sure. If not as yourself, then as Vincent Charles Gerald. Intruder says, what is this? Gerard says, this is a big surprise. I said you wouldn't kill me. Why do you think I'm here and gone tomorrow? Intruder says, you may be a liar. Chirag says, listen. This game's up. As far as I'm concerned, things went wrong with me. I said it with bullets and got away. Unfortunately, they got one of my men and found things that fools should have burnt. Tonight I'm expecting trouble. My bag's packed, ready to clear off. That's it. There it is. Intruder says, it's a bag, all right, and this is a gun, all right. What's all this? Gerard says, that's a disguise outfit, false mustache and whatnot. Now do you believe me? Intruder says, I don't know. Gerard says, for God's sake. Clear that muddled head of yours and let go. And let's go. Come with me in the car. I can use you. If you find it's fake, you have got me in the car and you have still got your gun. Intruder says, maybe you were right. Gerard says, then don't waste time. Intruder says, careful boss, I'm watching you. Gerard says, I have got a man posted on the main road. He'll ring up if he sees the police, but I don't want to leave it as late as that. And at that time, the telephone bell rings. So come on, they're after us through here straight to the garage. Intruder says, how do I know that? Gerard says, oh, don't be a fool, look at yourself. Gerard opens door and steps away. Intruder leans forward to inspect it. With his side towards Gerard, but with his revolver ready. As he turns his head, Gerard gives him a push to the cupboard, knocking the revolver out of his hand. He slams the door. Goes to the phone where he stands with the gun pointed at the cupboard door. Intruder rattles door and shouts, "Let me get out of here." Chirag says, "Hello. Yes, speaking. Sorry, I can't let you have the dress in the time for rehearsal." "I have on the spot bother. I think I'll put next in play. Listen, can you tell our friend to come here? You'll probably find him in the public bar." So, after we have done this story, we will do a little grammar right now. You know there are many grammar points like simple past versus present perfect. So, when do we use each tense in English? Present perfect simple and past simple. So, present perfect simple is unfinished actions that started in the past and continue to the present. And in past simple, the actions have been finished. The red sentence is the verb used. In present perfect simple, the subject plus have or has plus verb plus object is used. Remember to wisely use has and have. And in past simple, it is subject versus plus verb plus object. So, remember these verbs and then their form of simple past and past participle. See here, for example, in present perfect simple, I have known him for 10 years. So, in present simple perfect will come that I still know her. In past simple, it says I knew him for 10 years and she moved away. In past simple, the examples are these, and in present perfect simple, these are the examples. Go through the slides and read them. Applying for a job. A lot of people apply for jobs. After your graduation, you plan for the job, but first, you always have to create a bio. I'll show you how. The biodata you have just looked at contains the following: your name, your address, your date of birth, your marital status, your educational qualifications, professional expertise, work experience. biodata or CV. So for example, name, name could be Rosie PV, then address, then your date of birth, marital status, education, qualifications, like this. And your academic record should be like this: the exams that you have passed, an year, in which year and from which board or university, and what were your subjects, and then total marks. For example, secondary school certificate. Then you did it in 1991 from Kerala School Board. Then what were the subjects that you had? And then the total marks that you got. This becomes your academic record. First you mention your secondary, then your senior secondary, and then your graduation. Then the other qualifications like diplomas and certificate in typing or anything that you have done extraordinarily. And put the details of that. Also, always put your work experience. The name of the organization where you worked, and what was your post or role. What was your status? And what was your job profile? For example, calling, making the guest list, clients, and all that. Then you add your pay, the pay that you were given, and the duration of your work. This is very important for your CV. Whenever you go for an interview or you apply for a job, they always go through your background and then confirm your job. This is very important. Thank you.